The Pope's trip to Lebanon will be the second papal visit to the Middle East, but this visit in particular will have a completely different dynamic since it follows the Arab Spring and its political instability. The Middle East has within it different realities. One of the most complicated issues is that of Christians. They're leaving in massive numbers from the Middle East because they don't feel safe. A key case is that of Iraq, where the Iraqi Christian community went from 1.4 million to 300,000 faithful, especially after the start of the war. According to Martha Petrosillo, discrimination against Christians in the Middle East ranges from the workplace to physical attacks. Oftentimes, Christians are treated as second-class citizens. There's a widespread understanding among citizens of the region's divisions. On one side, there's a community of Muslims. Secondly, there are those who fall under the protected category. They include Christians and Jews since the Quran describes them as, quote, believers of the book. This means that Christians are second-class citizens, even though many constitutions call for the protection of this Christian minority. But then when it comes to daily life, it's not always the case. The Middle East is home to about 20 million Christians, which is about 5.6% of the population. But recent tensions have increased their exodus to other countries. Nevertheless, Lebanon and Egypt remain the countries with most Middle Eastern Christians. In fact, the recent increase in violence in Syria has further complicated the situations of Christians living there. Before the fighting began in March of 2011, Syria and Lebanon were among the countries where Christian communities could feel safe because they were protected and supervised. The Assad regime represented a minority, so a greater freedom was guaranteed to that Christian minority. But it's here that much of the confusion comes from. Because the Assad regime protected Christians, many see that minority as sympathizers of the regime. Since the conflict erupted last March, an estimated 20,000 people of all creeds have died. The tensions have increased on the border with Lebanon as many people try to flee and escape the violent conflict. Hopefully, the Pope's visit can soothe these tensions. Surely the political forces are working to resolve the problems as soon as possible. I hope the Pope's visit can help just as it did when he visited the Holy Land back in 2009. During that trip, the Pope will also deliver the conclusions of the Synod on the Middle East, where again the main focus will be a message of peace and coexistence.